Hello, we have reached a very exciting point in our daily devotions because today we are beginning the book of Romans. Now, Romans is the longest and probably most comprehensive of the New Testament letters, sometimes called epistles. And actually, even though it wasn't the earliest one to be written, it takes primary place, it seems, at the beginning of the sort of letters section of the New Testament. It's the first one we come across. And if you started reading it with me today, what you'll notice is that the author of it, the Apostle Paul, is keen to emphasize the centrality of the gospel of Jesus. We see that just even from the first sentence. Jesus, or Son, is mentioned 5 times in the opening sentence. I mean, what better way to start this section of the Bible? Whether he's talking about himself and who he is, or whether he's talking about who he's writing to, or even talking about the purpose of his writing, he's connecting all of those things to Jesus and what Jesus has done for us and who Jesus shows us and what he shows us about who God is. And it says there in verse 16, it's almost a summary where he's saying, "For I am not ashamed of the gospel." Paul is very keen to put the gospel, the good news of what Jesus has done, just absolutely front and center in this letter to the church at Rome. Let's think for a moment about this context of who Paul is writing to. It's clear as we will go through that Paul is not writing to a church group that he knows personally. I don't think he's visited them yet, but he plans to. He mentions that in the text. But what he is doing, it seems, is addressing a particular issue, it seems, that they have in the church between the Jewish Christians and the Gentile Christians. And the way that Paul addresses that issue and what he wants to say to them is all bound up in the gospel. Paul uses the opportunity to sort of seek reconciliation to explain so much about who Jesus is and what he has done, and how actually what he has done makes a practical difference in life. So notice that even though probably Romans would give us the most comprehensive summary of the gospel in one epistle, he's not writing it to people who are not yet believers and saying, this is the gospel, believe in Jesus. No, he's actually writing it to a group of believers, but for the purpose of reconciliation. What we're seeing here is Paul's belief, and a belief that is right the way through the Bible, that Jesus really is the answer to every aspect of life, every circumstance that we're in, every challenge that we face, every difficulty and every opportunity. The gospel, what Jesus has done, really makes a tangible difference. And so that's what I want to underline for us today in this devotion. The difference that the gospel makes to where we are at right now. Maybe you're struggling at work with a colleague, difficult situation. Well, actually, when we understand the gospel afresh and being humbled to acknowledge that we're also sinful, we're part of the problem, helps us when we're considering our relationship with other people. It humbles us. Maybe we've been treated badly by someone else, or let down or disappointed. The gospel is full of the love and the forgiveness that we need. Maybe we're not quite sure where we're going in life, or the point of life where we're in the season that we're in right now. Actually, when we understand the gospel afresh, that God in Christ has picked us out, has chosen us to give us destiny in him and set his love on us, and for us to be eternally in his hands, that just transforms the way we think about our own life and our own situation. And so that's my, challenge or reflection for us today. What are you facing right now? How does what Jesus has done transform that? How does it impact it? What aspect of the gospel, the love, the acceptance, the grace, the sovereignty of God, the forgiveness of God, it's all wrapped up in Christ. Let's pause and think about, how does that affect what you are facing today? Allow the truth of Christ to influence your emotions, to influence your decisions, to influence your words and actions today. We see it all in Christ. The love of God, the truth of God, the wisdom of God is all found in him. Let's pause and just reflect today. How can that life-changing truth of Jesus affect what you're facing and bring transformation and just change your perspective of what you're going into this week? I hope that's helpful to you.